WBZ News Radio, 1030. Paul is a certified hypnotherapist. Been doing it for 12 years. Paul's been here before, and his company's called Burlington Hypnosis. And Paul, this is a subject that has always fascinated me. You've been doing this for 12 years. This is a real job with you. This is not like fun and games. This is for real.
Well, it is fun and games, but it also happens to be my career, so I'm a really lucky guy.
Second career, you told me.
Yeah. I worked, I'm an RN. I worked at Mass General for many years. I was a hospice nurse for many years after that, burned out completely, decided to take a new track. And when I was in nursing school, I used hypnosis for public speaking. It worked really well. And when I was looking for a career path, the subject came up, hypnosis. I knew about it, and I realized and learned that you can make a career at it. And I got certified and got my education and learned about it and how to do it. And I've been doing it ever since, and it is a fascinating field.
So you used hypnosis while you were in school.
That's correct.
To overcome your own fear of public speaking.
The big deal with hypnosis is that it taps into the subconscious where the imagination is. And you can imagine wonderful things. You can imagine whatever it is that you want to accomplish. So with hypnosis, they plant this seed down deep that you can speak comfortably in public. And every night I'd listen to at the time, my cassette tape of that session. And with that repetition, I began to feel comfortable at the concept of speaking publicly. And the presentation that I was working toward went fantastic. And I haven't stopped talking since.
Well, you're very comfortable behind the microphone. I'm afraid you'll take my job here if maybe I'll have to become a hypnotherapist. Now, let me ask you, hypnotherapist, how do you become a hypnotherapist? What do you have to do?
Well, first of all, it's not a regulated field in the state of Massachusetts, but there are what
Is it regulated anywhere?
There are in some states. Unfortunately, I don't have that list at the top of my head. I think there might be a half a dozen states in the country.
So you hang a shingle out that says Paul Gustafson, hypnotherapist.
That's correct.
What do you have to do to have the right to hang that shingle out?
Well, the governing bodies like the National Guild of Hypnotists offer certification programs. They have their own practice of standards that mirror, professional medical groups. And to become certified, basic hypnotherapy, it's about 16 hours of lecture, writing hypnosis sessions, and doing presentations, doing sessions for the professor, and then to get further education, like to become certified in clinical or medical-based hypnosis, 24 hours of lecture, and more in-depth preparation of hypnosis sessions. And
so in theory, someone could become, if they had the abilities and the inclination and the interest in the field, it wouldn't take a long time to become a hypnotherapist.
No, it's very much a buyer's beware market, actually. You know, anybody can take a quick seminar or program, get a certificate, and call themselves a practitioner. So it's not regulated. So it's
the other thing too is that we think about, when we think about hypnotists, we think about, I don't know, you think about the stage act, the guy that is at a
chicken clucking
nightclub. What's it called?
Chicken clucking.
What does that mean? I've never heard that
it's a classic cliche in hypnosis.
Gotcha. Right. They bring the guy up out of the audience, and all of a sudden he's going to bark like a dog. Right. Okay, or chicken clucking. Those are the level of no.
Yeah, they are. Stage hypnosis has a few key components. The people who volunteer are the ones who wouldn't necessarily mind clucking like a chicken in front of a room full of people. Hypnotist does suggestibility tests, only inviting the most hypnotizable people up on stage. Peer pressure kicks in. The person on stage knows that the audience expects them to cluck like a chicken. The hypnotist has good technique, does rapid induction or fast hypnosis, and everything falls right into place. It's well choreographed, but you have people who are open and willing to the process. They do go into rapid trance, and they do things that they wouldn't necessarily mind doing. It's not what we do in my office.
All right, we're going to talk more about what we actually do in your office, or what you actually do in your office, and how you help people. Paul Gustafson is my guest. His company is Burlington Hypnosis. Again, there's a number of services, I guess, that he provides. He's got a pretty simple website, info@burlingtonhypnosis.com, but you also get a lot of info by just giving us a call, 617-254-1030, 888-WBZ 1030. Light topic this hour. We were kind of heavy last hour. We're changing pace on you, just like a good pitcher. Here we go, a little off. It is 9:17 here in Boston. Paul Gustafson is my guest from Burlington Hypnosis. Let's talk about one type of hypnosis that you do, and that is to help people lose weight.
Sure.
And one of the things that you do in your practice, and well, I want to get to this also. Someone comes in your office and they want to, let's say, lose weight.
Mm-hmm.
You, during the process of the appointment, put them under hypnosis.
Sure.
Right. They got to drive home. What happens?
Well, this is a process. This is not a switch that I'm finding in their deep subconscious that automatically makes it instantly easy to become a different person. This is a process of repetition. They spent years repeating the process that brought them to my door, putting on all this weight. We can pick up on the fast track with hypnosis. We can create change, and with repetition, by listening to sessions at home for a few weeks, this shift becomes more linear. They begin to think more and more about the person they want to be. And the real great thing with hypnosis is that they can start to feel lighter before the scale even shows any change because of what goes on between their ears. Hypnosis is a very powerful tool. It helps people to connect to their true inner self. And with this repetition of spending time with this therapeutic intervention, putting their feet up, closing their eyes, and relaxing more deeply than they've ever relaxed in their life, change starts to shift. They start to feel like they know where they're going. They already feel good. And that disconnect from the problem they walk through the door happens on the first visit. They've never met me. They don't know anything about hypnosis. They've never been in my office before. But that disconnect from that problem they walked in through the door with starts on day one.
In a 1 hour visit?
Yeah.
In 1 hour visit. Okay,
yeah.
So someone walks in the door, they say, I weigh 250.
Yeah.
And my height, I want to weigh 180. I want to lose 70 pounds. Is that enough for someone to say, I want to lose 70 pounds? Or for them to be successful in your program, do they have to really want to lose 70 pounds?
Of course they do, yeah. I can enhance and optimize motivation and desire, but I certainly can't create it for anybody.
So you can't guarantee it?
No. I guarantee good work. It's up to the individual and how open they are to the process and how consistent they are with it for a few weeks so that we can get a chance to get new roots to grow.
Okay, what percentage of your clients who are looking for weight loss, and we're going to talk about a specific program that you have, but what percentage of your clients are successful?
About 75%. I used to send out satisfaction surveys 6 months at the conclusion of our work together. And the returns that I got, 75%, were still pleased with their progress.
And how many sessions would be involved at a minimum to really, as you say, plant some roots?
Yeah, my weight loss program. I've been doing gastric band hypnosis now for 2 years. It's pretty much all I do, and it's a 4-session program.
Okay, so when you say gastric band hypnosis, I think all of us know that there's gastric band surgery where the surgeons actually, bariatric surgeons, actually cut and tie, and sometimes you can have a band. What are you doing here? You're making people feel as if they've undergone the surgery?
It's really exciting. It's so effective. I wasn't pleasantly surprised. I was blown away at how this works because we're able to capture that quick fix mentality that real-life gastric band surgery offers people. They want it done easy and fast. And we're able to pull that value into the creative qualities of hypnosis so that down deep, they intellectually know they didn't really have surgery, but there's a component to this that becomes rooted. That quick fix, I can do this, it's going to be easy. And with hypnosis and the whole imagination and the subconscious, they start creating images of what they want and how great they want to look and feel. It becomes easy. The transition is comfortable.
Now, my understanding of bariatric surgery is that in order to be a potential patient or a subject for bariatric surgery, you have to be obese.
Yeah.
You can't be someone who's looking to lose 10 or 15 pounds. Scott Sikora, who's the bariatric surgeon who's a guest on this program, explains to me that if you walk in and you're 15, 20 pounds overweight, you're not a candidate for bariatric surgery. Does that also apply with hypnotic bariatric surgery?
No. Oh, no. No. I have people who are marginally overweight. Most of the people I sit with are obese, but I do have clients who come in at 15 to 20 pounds overweight that this works with.
So do you change their exercise habits? Do you change their eating habits? Because clearly without exercise, without changing your eating pattern, no one's going to lose weight.
Most definitely. The first session of this program involves cutting the connection to unhealthy food choices and emotional eating. All of my sessions are geared to helping people to live well. And the one thing about weight loss, the problem isn't the weight. That's the symptom of the problem. The real problem is how we think and what we most frequently think about. And this process helps people to become on track and then begin to anticipate what they want, spending more time with what you want and how great you want to feel and look than spending all this time with the problem, which is the weight. They fight it. They try to outsmart it, outrun it. And the more time and energy you spend with it, the more ominous and large it becomes.
So 4 sessions.
4 sessions.
4 sessions over how long a period? I assume they're not like back to back to back.
Well, they're about a week to 10 days apart.
Let's say, so over a month, if you commit 4-hour sessions, then you are going to have a 70% chance to lose significant amounts of weight.
6 months after I sent out these satisfaction surveys, 75% was satisfied. And I'm very big on Angie's List, and I've been running.
Yeah, you mentioned, how do you get on Angie's List? I see it advertised on TV. You have to be a member to get on Angie's List, and then Angie's List tells you who the good plumbers are, who the good...
Well, Angie's List doesn't tell you that. It's the people who use those services that print reviews. And that's the big thing with Angie's List, is collecting reviews, people who have used the services. And they actually sought me out. They wanted to run this gastric band program. Before them, it was Groupon. This is a very popular and extremely effective technique in hypnosis. It started over in the UK, and it's spread over here. And Angie's List wanted to get in on that as well.
Let me just ask one final question before we go to phone calls, and that is that the image of the stage hypnotist is what we think about.
Sure.
We think about the guy who's up there on the stage, and he brings the guy up who's had a couple of brewskis, and he's going to make him cluck like a chicken, as you said. Holds his hand out there, and he hypnotizes him in 5 seconds. 5 seconds. I always find that to be unbelievable. But, okay, then the guy's clucking like a chicken.
Sure.
And then he does this, and he does a couple stupid things. And then at the end of the segment, the 15-minute, the hypnotist says, all right, you're no longer a chicken anymore. When I snap my fingers, snap. And the guy comes, where am I? Hey, how are you? Okay, now you say that's on the level, and that actually has occurred.
Sure.
Fine. And so that guy drives home. Hopefully with only having had 2 beers and no more than 2 beers. But he's alert and all of that.
Sure.
Same way with your clients. When they finish the hour session with you, they haven't clucked like a chicken. I understand that.
No, that costs extra.
That costs extra, right. But they leave the office mentally alert. It's not like someone has to drive them to your office. No, not at all. It's not like, sometimes you go to the doctor's office. You go to get a root canal these days. You go to, and if they're going to medicate you and put you under, make sure you got someone to drive you home. So that's...
Hypnosis is a combination of 2 things: deep, profound physical relaxation and heightened awareness. At the conclusion of a hypnosis session, the overwhelming majority of clients I sit with are more centered, grounded, focused, and aware than they've maybe have ever been or been in a long time. So... yeah, they have no problem reintegrating into the.
Have they given up on the old virtue of self-discipline?
Yeah. Well, the problem is that if people repeat these problem patterns long enough, they become rooted, and it doesn't matter what we intellectually or consciously know. And this is where the term willpower comes in. When people want to establish change with long-standing patterns, they feel as though they need extra power, and the reason that is because all of these patterns and habits that we want to change are rooted down in the subconscious. So sure, to simply want to establish change is difficult. A great example of this: every smoker on the planet knows it's going to kill them. Why it exists as a multi-billion-dollar industry is a proof to the power of the subconscious. A smoker smokes long enough, it becomes rooted deep in the subconscious. Even though we consciously know it's going to kill us, smokers will smoke. And hypnosis is a way for us to access where these patterns reside and to offer change, to make a disconnect between the problem patterns, plant seeds that support what we want, and then they begin to repeat this process the same way they repeated the problem process.
Hey, Ken, great call. Thank you for 1030.
News Radio 1030.
Let's go to the phones. Right back to the phones we go. We're talking with Paul Gustafson. He's from Burlington Hypnosis, burlingtonhypnosis.com. And I did ask you off camera, off microphone, I should say, during the break. Is there any potential downside, any potential danger in this? I mean, you go, for example, medical surgery, and you have to sign papers and release, because every surgery, you go to the dentist, you're going to have a problem. Is there any downside here?
No, this is pretend surgery.
But you're doing something with someone's mind.
We're giving them the suggestions that support what they want.
Okay, so people don't have to sign releases when they come.
I do have that. They sign a release that says they agree to be hypnotized, and that they understand that, And
they hold you harmless, and they won't sue you if they go out and they They do
Preferably, that's the way we'd like it to go.
Yeah. I assume you've talked to lawyers and there's a release.
Of course, yeah,
Okay,
sure.
Okay, just want to double check. Gene is in Winthrop. Hey, Gene, how are you tonight?
Hi, how are you?
Thanks for calling in. You're on with Paul Gustafson. What's your question or comment?
I have a couple of questions.
Sure, go ahead.
One is, how do you handle people with eating disorders that have possibly this issue because of a trauma? Would you recommend hypnosis?
Well, I certainly wouldn't. I've helped a lot of people who've had traumatic pasts, and in fact, I've had a lot of clients who came in. I remember one particular client who came in for weight loss, and through the course of our sessions, this trauma came up, and we're kind of able with hypnosis to create a separation, a disconnect. And with her, I recall it, we kind of encapsulated that time in her past and freed her up to begin moving forward. By encapsulating a time in her past, it gave her the freedom to begin moving forward in an unencumbered fashion. And that's just one example of how we can. There's a lot of different techniques with hypnosis, and that's a great one to free someone from the past. And with my gastric program, the first session is all about cutting the connection to the unproductive, the unhealthy, the unwanted past. If people come up with, dramatic trauma from their past, certainly it's something I'd want to. If they're involved with getting psychological care, I want to get a release signed by their psychologist that says it's okay to pursue hypnosis. But there are many techniques we can use to help people in those situations.
And would that take longer than the 4-time session?
Well, it's impossible to say. I'd have to see what the situation was and what course of action was best for them. It's impossible for me to say.
Okay, and I have 2 other questions.
Sure.
One is, do you have any type of groups that people can be together in case, like a support group?
No, that's a good question. I don't have support groups related to my work.
And are they group sessions or all individual?
I do individuals.
Okay.
I used to do groups at the beginning, but they're just not as effective.
No, I meant a group for people who have gone through and can support each other. Do they need any type of aftercare?
Who've gone through hypnosis?
Yeah.
No, there's no aftercare needed. This is not. Yeah, this is hypnotic surgery. No real surgery involved here. The second session of the gastric program, we go into deep hypnosis, and they go through the process of imagining they've had a gastric band surgery, and they'll hear the sounds of the operating room, and I have all of this, the whole audio journey of them, and it feels quite real, but there's no scalpels involved anywhere. It's all pretend. Very effective. You're able to grab that quick fix mentality that people have about gastric band surgery and pull it into the creative qualities of hypnosis, and change seems to be easier for people with this program.
Okay, and does insurance pay for this, or
no,
is it self-pay?
Self-pay, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I'm sure on your website you can find all this information?
Go to burlingtonhypnosis.com and click on the office visit section, and you'll see the whole gastric band program there with the video of the physician who came to see me, Dr. Steve, and you get to hear his report of how his experience was with the program.
Gene, great. Merge carefully. Thanks, Lily. Bye. Good night. All right.
Bye.
Good night. 617-254-1030. Scott is in Brookline. Hey, Scott, how are you tonight?
Great. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. This is a man with a positive attitude.
I can
Say hi
tell.
to Paul Gustafson, Scott. Go right ahead.
Hey, Scott.
Hi. Nice to speak to you.
Nice to speak with you. What can I do for you?
Well, actually, I'm calling to say that hypnosis has been around for many years.
Yes, sir, it
And
has.
as you know, there were many entertainers. And I've met quite a few of them.
Mm-hmm.
And to anyone listening, well, hypnosis is a reality.
Yeah.
And I remember there was a hypnotist.
A hypnotist.
A
A hypnotist. Go ahead.
His name was Franz Polgar.
All right.
And he was very well known. And he would actually hypnotize a group of people.
Mm-hmm.
And in many instances, they would do things that ordinarily they could never accomplish.
That's true.
So, as I understand it, and I'm asking you this, is it true that once you get involved with hypnosis and you're dealing with the mind, actually that's what it is,
Mm-hmm.
then any other person dealing in hypnosis can easily put you under that spell? And that's something people would have to be very careful of.
I think that once you develop the technique, or once you become familiar with the process of just stepping into the subconscious, and if you do it routinely, you're going to become skillful. And sure,
Oh, I don't mean you. I'm talking about the person.
I think what you're saying is, once hypnotized, do you become more susceptible to being hypnotized by someone else?
And as I understand it,
Sure,
it's true.
yeah.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Hey, Scott, appreciate the call. Thank you very much.
And good luck to you.
Have
Thanks,
a great
Scott.
night. Let's go to Andrew. Andrew is in Boston. Andrew, how are you tonight?
Good. Hi, how are you?
Good. Getting tight on time. Go right ahead.
Okay, great. So I just had a quick question. My wife and I have two young kids, a 10-year-old boy and a 7-year-old daughter, and they really are, wonderful children. However, my 10-year-old son, over the past year or so, has just become very unruly and disrespectful, and the whole mouth issue going on.
Yeah.
All right.
And our house is a very loving house, very family oriented, and we just at this point we're kind of at a loss as to what to do with them.
Yeah.
And we didn't know if this would be something that could be applicable to a child.
Well, I've done a fair amount of pediatric hypnosis. In fact, there was a pediatrician in Burlington that referred to me all the time, and I've sat with children as young as 8. Yeah, hypnosis is definitely. In fact, pediatric hypnosis, kids, teens do very, very well with hypnosis because they're walking around in half of a hypnotic trance anyway. If your son, even for children, they need to want to do what you'd like them to do. It's not as though you could bring your son, who has no interest in changing his patterns, in to see a hypnotist and expect to get the type of change you want. If your son can get behind this in some way, if he wants to change, hypnosis can definitely help. In fact, I don't recall most of the overwhelming majority of my pediatric cases were just so incredibly successful. So
that right?
yeah, for the simple reason that they're in a trance all the time anyhow. They slide right into it very quickly, and it's always an amazing journey. For them, it's Disneyland of thought. They are just blown away by it, and they can start to imagine this new version of themselves. And I've sat with kids who would come out with, the parents would bring them in, and then after a hypnosis session, they'd start talking about it. They start talking about what their problem is. They're relaxed, they're free, and they're able to talk. And we get it out, and we start planting seeds that support this new version. And they listen to this session every day at home for a month or so, and they kind of get really good at it. And from that comes change.
Right. Well, I think it would be something that would be beneficial for him because I think.
Well, Andrew, you can check out the website. Just go to burlingtonhypnosis.com.
Yeah,
okay?
Shoot me an email, and we'll get connected.
Will do. Appreciate it.
Thanks for. This is Dan Ray, the host of Nightside. I hope you enjoy listening to the Nightside podcasts here at the Nightside website, and I invite you to join us every Monday through Friday night from 8 to midnight live for Nightside on WBZ News Radio 1030. My guest this hour, continuing with Paul Gustafson. He is a certified hypnotherapist out at Burlington Hypnosis. As I promised to all of you who are holding on, Paul's going to stay for a while. We'll keep it going. Just keep calling. Isabel in Plymouth. Hi, Isabel. How are you tonight?
Hi, Dan. I'm fine. I'm calling because several years ago, I stopped smoking when I went to a hypnotist.
That's a good thing.
Oh, great.
And you know how I found out about it? David Brodnoy.
Really?
Every year he had this gentleman from Pennsylvania come, and finally, would you believe, in 1980, I decided to call up. I made a reservation for myself and my husband, and it was the Wellesley Lung Association that sponsored it.
Good for you.
Well, that's excellent. And you've stayed off the cigarettes ever since.
I did, but it was a room full of people, and afterwards I thought, I think I just wanted to quit smoking. I don't think that had any effect.
Well, let's find out what Paul says. Paul,
Yeah,
what do
that's
you
what
think?
I wanted.
So you were ready to quit smoking when you went to that event?
I was.
Yeah.
Well, I really wanted to, but I found it so difficult to give up.
When people who go into hypnosis, oftentimes they'll say, I'm not sure if anything happened. I'm not sure if I was in hypnosis, because you're still aware. And especially in a group setting, you're not going to usually go into very deep hypnosis. But a lot of times it doesn't take deep hypnosis to plant a seed that supports what you want, to take that desire that you had down to a bit of a deeper level. And it doesn't have to be profound. In fact, there's a lot of light trance hypnosis done that doesn't involve the deep journey at all. So, yeah, it sounds like it worked for you, and that's great.
It did, and I still really wanted a cigarette sometimes afterwards, but we never did. Never did have another one. I
used to smoke myself, and on a rare occasion, I'll walk by someone who's smoking, and I'll catch a whiff of it, and it'll remind me of the day. But I'm real happy to be a non-smoker.
I am, too.
Good for you. Congratulations.
Isabel, I'm proud to tell you I never smoked a cigarette in my life. My father was a 2-pack-a-day smoker, and the day that the Surgeon General's report came out in 1964, he went cold turkey.
Oh, wow.
That's a great story.
He quit. But the reason I never smoked was he smoked. One of the other Little League coaches smoked cigars, these cheap cigars.
That's the worst.
And we would be in the car driving to a game, and I would be turning like purple. And it would be always in April on a kind of a cold, overcast April day. So the windows were rolled up, and you're sitting there in this haze, and that's...
Yeah, that must have been pretty horrible, especially with the cigar added, too.
Well, yeah, and when I say bad cigars, my old baseball coach, who is still... doing very well, Pat Gasparo, who lives in Reedville, Massachusetts, and Pat is into his 90s. He's a great man and a great friend and a great mentor to me. So I want to just mention that, Pat, I love you. The cigars we could have done without, but I want to wish Pat Gasparo, particularly from Reedville, a happy New Year as well. Okay, thanks, Isabel.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Bye-bye.
Happy New Year to you as well.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Same to you.
Good night.
Bye.
617-254-1030, 888-WBZ-1030. Free thoughts, free association, and it got me back and a great memory.
Yeah, really.
That's exactly what we're talking about. Nightside returns with Paul Gustafson, a certified hypnotherapist, right after this.
Nightside with Dan Ray. Call 617-254-1030 or 888-929-1030. The News Watch never stops. WBZ News Radio 1030.
Back to the phones we go. Karen is in Gloucester. Hi, Karen. How are you tonight?
Hi, I'm good. I actually was just wondering, listening to this, I was thinking that it sounded like a potentially really helpful supplemental therapy for PTSD. And since that seems logical to me as somebody who's being treated for that by a regular therapist, I'm wondering why insurance won't cover it, especially since it's probably healthier for you than having to go on medication.
Great question. I agree 100%. That the reason is it's not regulated in the state, number one. And number two, it is... It's very rapport based. It's how comfortable an individual is with the practitioner, and it's so for that reason it's not the results aren't as easily duplicated from practitioner to practitioner as maybe other modalities might be. I agree. Based on the experience of the clients I see in my office, there should be a line. Well, the line is getting longer to get in, but there should be a line 20 miles long.
Is that something that, do they accept it in some, like, will insurance pay for it in other states? Is that just a math thing, or is that pretty much like?
Well, I don't know the total number of states in the country that have regulated it. I think it's under maybe 10 or 12 at the most.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I don't know where we stand in Massachusetts. I haven't been following it, and lately I haven't had the time to follow it. But I look forward to the day when hypnosis is the number one option. And, right now we're at the end of the line. I particularly like it when we're at the last-ditch effort, because when people come in to see me, they've tried everything else. They're frustrated. They're desperate. They don't know what else to do. And people in this position, they make better clients. They're motivated, and they tend to embrace it more openly and eagerly, and these are the clients that tend to do better.
Hey, Karen, this is Dan. Can I ask you a question?
Sure.
Without getting into real specifics, you said that you suffered from PTSD, post-traumatic stress disorder. I'm not even sure if I agree with that characterization, but what sort of...
My therapist would differ with you, but that's
No,
my
no. I just hate the word disorder. When I mean, it's like
okay, sure.
I just think that if any of us are subjected to a traumatic experience, that there should be a kinder word that is not the post-traumatic stress. I don't need to hear the word disorder. That's just a personal point of view.
Yeah, I see what you're. Yeah,
but can you tell me what sort of what were you subjected to that generally that?
Well, this is very common, and I know a lot of other people, but there are a lot of people, functional adults walking around out there who were sexually abused as kids, and you just aren't able to deal with it or ready to deal with it until you get to a point in your adult life, where it's a little bit less overwhelming and frightening. And in my case, my therapist had the same experience as a child, which is one reason why she's a great fit for me.
Sure.
But I mean, to me, the idea of like a healthcare system where I'm being pushed more to medicate myself.
Yeah.
And you know what I mean?
Yeah, most definitely. Very frustrating.
We know exactly what you mean, Karen.
It's so unhealthy. Like, not that it's not necessary for some people, but why not try something first where you don't have to be medicated? That's all.
Let me ask Paul a question. Paul, you mentioned that 85% of your clients are female.
Yeah.
Are any of your clients people who are trying to deal with an issue like Karen has dealt with?
Oh, yeah.
I'm sure.
Yeah, most definitely. Hypnosis has an incredible cathartic effect where you'll, of course, intellectually remember all of the issues and memories of the past, but it has a wonderful way of freeing you. And when we start to get into specific release therapy and hypnosis and give individuals tools that profoundly free them from whatever it is that they're dealing with so that they can start to make choices and move forward. You can go back and visit it. You can go back and work on it. But hypnosis gives you the ability to start living your life.
Right. Like it's not like a Band-Aid or you still have to have regular therapy. But I guess it was just it was sounding to me listening to you like it might bring a little more peace of mind
go to
somebody,
and
that's really helpful.
I'd be happy to I'd be happy to talk to you about it in more detail at some point. Go to the website burlingtonhypnosis.com and shoot me an email, and we can connect that way. Terrific.
Okay,
hey, Karen, thank you for calling. Thanks for having the courage to talk about it as well. You have a happy New Year, okay?
You too.
Thank you.
You sound very well adjusted. It sounds like to me whatever you're doing is working. Thanks. 617-254-1030, 888-WBZ 1030. Mimi in Stoughton. Hi, Mimi. How are you?
Hi, how are you? Can you hear me?
I can hear you really well. Yeah.
Oh, great. I love your show.
Thank you.
And the reason that I'm calling is that I am 63 years old and I forget things. I have a very creative mind. I come up with ideas and then they immediately leave my mind.
Yeah.
And I wanted to know whether or not that's like Alzheimer's or if you can help with memory or help bring out the creative juices in me.
Most definitely. Actually, I spoke with a caller earlier tonight about creativity. First of all, hypnosis helps you. Routine hypnosis, which is what I preach to all of my clients, doing this on a regular basis. It helps to create a wonderful, centered, grounded, focused, mindful approach to life. You're less distracted by the pace of life. It creates a layer of insulation between you and the rest of the world so that you can pick and choose how you'd like to respond to what goes on around you rather than feeling controlled by it all. And from this, process, this meditation, comes awareness and clarity. And you start to think more carefully, you start to think more creatively, and you notice things that you may not have noticed before, and you begin to become more proactive. You communicate better with people, and you're just more aware. You're more aware of the world around you, but more importantly, you're more aware of you. And only good things happen from such a transition.
Because I feel like I'm starting my life all over again. My kids are grown, and ideas that I had years ago, things are coming to me like, oh, I wish I could do that. And then all of a sudden it leaves me, and then I forget.
Well, you got to start writing it down, girl.
I do.
Hey,
I got it. Yeah. If I can remember it long enough.
Oh, no.
Mimi, look, everyone who gets a little older, I think, has a little memory lapse and a little memory loss. And I don't think anyone in your age range, and I'm pretty close right there with you, I sometimes, if you're trying to remember something, I think what you have to do is relax. Yeah. And I think if you focus on it sometimes too much, if you're trying to remember the name of your third grade teacher, or for that matter, if you're trying to remember the name of your member of Congress, and if it slips your mind, I think if you relax, sounds to me like you're going to be fine. And I don't know, maybe you should check out Burlington Hypnosis, and maybe it would help. I don't know. Have you had people who actually have expressed the concern that Mimi expresses?
Oh, of course. Yeah, most definitely.
And you're able to help them.
Sure. Yeah.
Oh, so I'm not the only one. If I'm not going crazy.
No, you are in good company, my dear. Good company.
Well, thank you so much.
My
it's
pleasure.
Been great talking to you.
Same here.
I will be looking you up.
Definitely.
Have a wonderful New Year's. I love you, Dan Ray.
I love you too, Mimi. Happy.
Okay.
You sound like you could be my twin sister.
Really?
Happy New Year.
You got good energy.
Well, thank you.
Yeah. Thanks, Mimi. Talk to you soon.
All right.
Thanks. Bye-bye. Good night. Let me go to Joseph and Lynn. Joseph, want to get you in here before the break. Go ahead, Joseph.
Oh, Dan. Hello, Paul.
Hey, Joseph.
I am visually impaired, and I suffer from the same thing, PTSD. We'll just say post-traumatic. There was a Dr. Pratt on. He uses it to uncover, but he said, I've heard of also they use Amatol if they have to, if it's real bad, to correct the difficulty. A lot of us can't get the help we need. Do you do it if the insurances don't take it? Do you do it anyway? Because Mass Health and other groups certainly won't pay for this. And if it's very serious, it has to be done by a medical doctor because it's very deeply, like I come from a very bad background. It's affected me all my life. And I just learned about him today, and I heard him on the radio. So now I know what it's called. And he mentioned my symptoms. He mentioned the limbic system and how they can do tests. Do you do it without insurance if they don't pay for it? Anything would work?
Insurance routinely doesn't reimburse for hypnosis. All the clients that I see are paying out of pocket.
Oh, boy, because some of us don't have the money.
Yeah.
Is it very expensive?
It's about comes out to about $150 per session.
Oh, my God. I don't have that kind of money. I just wanted to check with you. I wish we could do something. All right. Thank you very much.
My pleasure.
All right. Sorry. Thanks. 617-254-1030, 888-WBZ 1030. My guest, Paul Gustafson, Burlington Hypnosis. If you'd like to jump on board for the first time in a while, we got an open line. Dial now and we'll get you in. If not, we will. Someone else will get that line. Nightside returns right after this.
When news breaks, the choice is clear. WBZ News Radio 1030. The News Watch never stops.
We're talking about a subject that we often don't get into here on Nightside. I know that there are a lot of shows, particularly some of the overnight talk shows, who will deal with things like the occult and all of that. That's not what we're talking about here. We're talking about a very sophisticated, legitimate practice of hypnotism. And guest is Paul Gustafson. He is Gustafson. He's with Burlington Hypnosis. It's his company. He's been doing this for 12 years, meeting with a lot of success. He's been a guest of Paul Sullivan, my predecessor, and he's been a guest of mine before. And I think you can tell from his demeanor that he is here, obviously, trying to help people.
Yeah.
And that's...
You know, transitioning into hypnosis was great because of my nursing background. I'm used to making important connections with people and teaching people, empowering people to establish change. I did it at Mass General. I did it at hospice. And coming into hypnosis was such a perfect fit because I get to keep doing what I've always been doing. Only it's more relaxing.
Well, and it certainly...
the hypnotist relaxes too, in these sessions, so it's nice.
Well, that's important.
It's nice.
That's important. Let's go to Michael, is in the car. Michael, how are you tonight?
I'm well. Thank you for asking. Thank you for taking my call.
You're welcome. You're on with Paul Gustafson.
Hey, Michael.
Well, thank you. I was wondering, I've read there are two trains of thought on the mechanics of hypnosis. One is the divided conscious, and the other is the hidden observer. Wondering if you could tell me what you believe, how this works.
Well, I believe that everything that we repeat becomes rooted down in the hard drive, the subconscious. It's a numbers game. Whatever we repeat becomes part of who we are, whether it's smoking, whether it's patterns of action or patterns of thought. And with hypnosis, the technique to access this level of thought, we're able to establish change. We're able to tap into the imagination, which is in the subconscious, and to begin helping individuals to create new scenarios. With hypnosis, accessing this level of thought, you're able to begin to create an expectation that supports what people want. So whether it's a hidden observer or what people are calling it, it's my simplistic approach to is just going where the habits live, unplugging what we don't want and what doesn't serve us well, what the client says they want to become free of, and helping them to begin spending more time with what they want and what excites them than spending all the time with the problem, the frustration, trying to overcome, outrun the problem, whether it's excess weight or whatever the pattern is, to leave that battle and start floating in the direction more of what you want. And when you do it on a regular basis, change occurs. Change and the disconnect from the patterns that we struggle with is palpable usually for most clients in the first session. And I routinely ask clients at the conclusion of the session, so do you feel as though there's separation between how you feel now and when you walked in? And the overwhelming majority of the clients answer yes. In fact, a lot of times I ask that question and people are blown away at how free they feel. So whether it's referred to as a hidden observer or not, that's kind of my approach, and it's what consistently works for people.
Very interesting. I've been told everybody has the ability to be hypnotized, but some more so than others. And what I mean is if you want to quit smoking, you're more apt to. But if you're brought in there kicking and screaming, you're less apt to. Is that correct?
I don't bring anybody into my office kicking and screaming. In fact, I'll get calls from wives setting up appointments for their husbands because they think their husband needs to stop smoking or they think the husband needs to lose weight. And I don't take those people. They need to contact me themselves. Certainly I'm not giving this away. People are paying to come in. I think for the people who might come in under those pretenses, they're not going to. I've been pleasantly surprised at the steady stream of serious-minded individuals who are eager.
So if a spouse calls and says, I want my husband to come in and he needs to do this or do that.
Have him call me.
Okay.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
That's great.
Yeah.
And lastly, I just, I forgot what I was going to say. I apologize.
I can help you with that.
We're going to have you call Mimi, and Mimi will let you know. Okay. I wish we. If now what I need now, Michael. Here's what I need. I have the hypnotist, right? The hypnotherapist. Excuse me. What I need is a mind reader, and we'll be all set.
Yeah.
I'll be very, very quick. I remember. I've been also lastly told that people can remember things under hypnosis, but it could be dangerous because you can interject or give them a memory that's false that could really mess with their mind. So people that aren't professionals shouldn't put people under hypnosis because it could be dangerous implanting false memories.
That's true.
Okay.
Yep.
All right. Thank you, Michael.
Thanks, Michael.
Have a great night. Let's go to Mary and Dedham. Mary, how are you tonight?
Oh, I'm good. Hi, Dan, and hi, Paul.
Hey, Mary.
I feel like you were talking about the wife that calls for the husband.
Yeah.
I am calling because my son, in the past probably 5 or 6, maybe 4 years or so, has like OCD. And I mean, he's a young adult, so he's like 25. But I was like interested in maybe, suggesting that maybe hypnotist or would what you call it, hypnotherapist would be good for someone with OCD because they put him on Prozac or some, and he doesn't like it. I hate it, and I just wondered if that would be something if he researched, would be something good for him.
Well, yeah, I do. I've had clients come in with OCD. One young woman was pulling her hair routinely, and it was a big problem. And with hypnosis, one of the techniques we used was to imagine a switch. Imagine the switch that shuts off the the need to do that. And we'll give her the suggestion that every time she feels like she needs to pull her hair, she rubs her thumb and forefinger together. As a post-hypnotic suggestion, we're giving her subconscious a direction that every time she does that, she'll feel a wave of relaxation and comfort. And I'm very much into helping people move in the direction of empowerment, of freedom, of comfort, relaxation, and feeling good. And when that's your focus and people are kind of drawn in that direction, it's amazing how quickly and easily they're able to leave those compulsive patterns behind.
Hey, Mary, how's your son doing in life? You said he's in his mid-20s. Is he working? Is he out of school? What's he doing?
Yeah, no, he is. He's working and stuff. But just like all of a sudden before he gets into the car or something, he kind of like rubs like down by his knees and just, it's just like weird. And you know, he never exhibited anything like that beforehand. And so, and he doesn't like doing it. You know what I mean? Like, so, I will give him that.
Yeah. BurlingtonHypnosis.com. And then he can, then
he can read on it, and then he can make the decision.
He can shoot me an email. People can find me on Twitter at Paul's Hypnosis as well.
Okay, and like around how much does this cost? You go more than once? I mean,
I usually see clients a minimum of 3 sessions. It's about $150 per session, and clients can prepay online and save 10%.
Yeah,
it's not, Mary, this is Dan. It's not something that that's cheap. No doubt about that. And it's not covered by insurance, but it's not something that you would consider to be exorbitant. And if you do have a problem that is interfering somehow, some way with your life, most of us can blow through $600, with a few restaurant tabs and this might be a pretty good way to look at it as an investment. Okay.
It is, and it sounds like it might be well worth it.
All right. Thanks, Mary. Best of luck,
right.
Okay?
Thank you.
Always love to hear from someone in Dedham, 02026 zip code.
That's right.
All right, thanks.
Have a wonderful New Year.
You too. Thank you very much. Same to you. Thanks, Mary. 617-254-1030, 888-WBZ 1030. There are some zip codes that are impressed in my mind, and when I get a chance, for some reason, I like to throw them out there. We'll be back on Nightside with Paul Gustafson right after this.
News updates all day. Dan Ray and Nightside at night. The News Watch never stops. WBZ News Radio 1030.
Back to the phones. Let's go to New Jersey, out of New England again. Victor is in New Jersey. Victor, how are you tonight?
Yeah, hi. How you doing?
Good. Where in New Jersey, Victor?
I'm in South Jersey.
South Jersey. Welcome. Are you a regular listener or just happen to find us tonight?
Yeah, I just happened to stumble upon it. It's an interesting show.
Well, we have all sorts of interesting guests and interesting topics, so I hope you become a regular. Lock us in the dial, 10:30 a.m. on your AM dial, okay?
Yeah, I didn't know you were in Boston, you know.
We are in Boston, but we also get into 38 states. So when you're on North America's back porch, that's what we call the show, you're being heard by people in upwards of 38 states, my friend.
Okay, well, anyhow, I have a couple of questions.
Sure.
What do you think of this past life regression? Is there such a thing, or is that a load of baloney? Number one.
No, there most definitely is such a thing.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah. Past lives. There's a lot of research that's been done on that. It's not something I do professionally. I took a class in metaphysical hypnosis, which is the process of going back through time, either to points earlier in the individual's life or to points in time of past lives.
So you're convinced, just so I understand what you're saying, you're convinced that Victor or me or you that we had prior lives.
Yeah.
You're convinced of that?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Wow. Yeah.
Victor, are you a skeptic or a believer in that?
Well, I don't know, but I hear that stuff on sometimes on the radio. Yeah. And, I wonder, what do you go through back to when you were born?
I will tell you this, Victor. My friend Jordan Rich, who does the show from midnight to 5 a.m. On Saturday mornings and on Sunday mornings on this radio station, and who will be here behind this microphone in an hour and a quarter, he has had guests on dealing with that specific subject. And if you drop him a note, I know that that Jordan probably would be more than willing to have. He's got a couple of guests that I've heard on that subject who are very convincing. I've never done a show like that because we deal mostly on this show with politics, current events, and occasionally on a Friday night we do something that's a little bit off our beaten path, if you will. But you keep listening to WBZ or just contact Jordan Rich. And you can find it. Just go to our website, cbsboston.com/nightside, and he'll probably have a guest on in the not too distant future.
You can also Google Michael Newton, who's one of the long-standing researchers in past life. Outstanding material, decades worth of research. Mike,
I don't know if I would really want to do that.
Yeah,
it might be scary, but anyway.
Why would it scare you, Victor? Why would it scare you?
Well, I don't know, because I'm nice and comfy in my present life. I don't want to know about the.
Well, you might have been even nice and even more comfy in your previous life. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Actually, I share your thoughts. I'm kind of comfortable where I am too.
Just remember this, though, Victor. Intellectual curiosity, in my opinion, is the greatest sign of intelligence that anyone can have.
That's a one.
And I mean that seriously. And I don't care, Victor, what your level of education is. I don't care what someone has told you when you're in the 8th grade what your IQ is. As long as you're intellectually curious, you're exercising your mind.
Yeah. I have another question.
Go ahead, Victor.
Oh, one more question. How long do your sessions last, number one?
Mm-hmm.
And number two, how do you find a good quality professional hypnotist for, for things like smoking cessation?
Well, that's exactly what Paul does. His sessions last an hour.
Yeah.
Most he said earlier tonight. I just want to try to cut to the chase here. That most people come to him for a minimum of 3 to 4 sessions. That nothing would prevent people from coming there longer. In terms of finding someone in your area, Paul, what's your recommendation?
You just found him.
well, what would be a good a marker for a good quality professional?
I believe that people who are in the medical field, people who have degrees in other professions like social work, nursing, psychologists, I think those are the people who make the best hypnotist. I'm biased because that's what I am. That's what my background is. I think people with this type of background are much better able to communicate, to troubleshoot, to problem solve, and to communicate with clients in a way that gets them from point A to point B.
Is the phrase certified hypnotherapist something that is important to see?
Yeah. Sure. Yeah, you want to find someone who's certified from a legitimate governing body of hypnotists like the National Guild of Hypnotists. They're the largest. And you can go to the ngh.net website, and I believe they have a practitioner finder software. You can punch in your zip code, and they'll connect you with people. But you want to talk to the person. You want to find out if they're listening to you, whether or not they're open to understanding your situation.
All right, Victor, we got to run. You can check out burlingtonhypnosis.com, and you can contact Paul directly if you'd like, okay?
Thank you very much.
Hope you keep listening to WBZ 1030 in your AM dial. Happy New Year, my friend.
You too.
Bye-bye. 617-254-1030, 888-WBZ 1030, coming right back on Nightside.
Dan Ray, the voice of reason. 617-254-1030 or 888-929-1030. WBZ News Radio 1030.
We have about 12 minutes left, 11 minutes left with our guest, Paul Gustafson. For those of you who are listening, and since Victor in New Jersey mentioned that he had just picked this up for the first time, you're listening to WBZ News Radio 1030. My name's Dan Ray, the host of the program, the voice of reason, and most of our programs deal with politics, current events, things like that, but particularly on Friday night, sometimes we do a program that's a little different. And my guest for the last 2 hours, for the last hour and a half, Paul Gustafson, who is a certified hypnotherapist, with his group is called burlingtonhypnosis.com. I'll give that email address out a couple of more times, but I want to get to as many calls as we can. Everyone on the line, we're going to get to you because we're late. Paul will be leaving at 11. We're going to try to get right to it, so I'm going to push you a little bit in this final segment. Kathleen is in Maine. Hi, Kathleen. How are you tonight?
I'm well, and yourself?
We're doing great. Say hi to Paul Gustafson. Go right ahead.
Hi.
Hey, Kathleen.
My question was about if hypnosis helps in terms of helping people to recover memories that maybe they just don't remember. Like I suffered a head trauma when I was younger.
Mm-hmm.
There's just like things that I just don't remember. They're not good or bad memories. They're just
Sure.
things I don't remember.
Yeah, I've helped people find. I've had clients come who can't remember where they hid their, baseball cards, or I've had clients come in trying to retrieve various past memories. And we, with hypnosis, we access the level of thought where all memories exist. We access the hard drive. And
All right.
yeah.
All right. Well, thank you. That was my only question.
Oh, my pleasure.
All right, great, Kathleen. Thanks very much. Have a
Thank
great
you.
night. Let me go to Mary Lou. Hello, Mary Lou. Goodbye, heart. Hi, Mary Lou. Dan Ray, how are you?
I'm fine now, but I don't want to keep you. There are other people, so I'll make it brief.
Sure.
Hypnosis works very well for me. I had a child, and my pediatrician said, if you bring him into the hospital, maybe we can help him live longer, And so I went along with it, and everything backfired. And I became very bitter. I hated myself for doing it. And
Mary Lou, did your child die?
My psychiatrist connected me with, a hypnosis. And I was willing to do it because that wasn't me hating people.
Mary Lou, this is Dan.
It worked.
Mary Lou, can you hear me?
Yes.
Good. Did your child die in the hospital?
Yes.
I see.
Boy,
Okay.
yeah.
So you were carrying all sorts of guilt issues in your mind.
Yes.
All right. Sorry to
Yes,
to know of
he
your
died
story.
in the hospital.
Was your child sick, I assume, and that's why he went to the hospital?
Yeah, instead of extending his life, they killed him.
Okay,
And I became extremely bitter.
I can understand.
And hypnosis worked for me because
Beautiful.
I was cooperating with it, because that was not me hating people.
I see.
And
So you were able to release all that with hypnosis?
well, they got me on the right track.
Good for you. Good for you, Mary Lou. Thank you for sharing that very sad story. And I hope you're going to be okay.
Backfired.
Well, I hope that everything's going to go in the right direction in the future. Okay.
Well, right now everything is
Good. That's what we need. You need to.
I'm not going around hating people.
Good
but
for you.
I don't want to hold up, other people who have this. But
All right. Well,
hypnosis
thank you,
does
Mary
work.
Lou. Thank you for that story. I got a bunch of calls I do have to
All
get
right,
to.
go
Okay.
ahead.
Thank you very much.
Bye.
Good night. Let me go to Linda in Waltham. Hey, Linda. How are you tonight?
I'm fine. How are you?
Good. We're getting tight on time. What's your question?
I'm a type 2 diabetic,
Mm-hmm.
and I have a good endocrinologist, and I am close to being well controlled as far as my numbers go. But I'm still doing it with medication. I was wondering if hypnosis could maybe help me stick to things a little better.
Most definitely. Can definitely help you connect more with whatever it is you want. It's a wonderful tool to help people live balanced, healthy lives. And that's kind of what even all of my weight loss clients, it's all about living well. It's all about knowing where you're going, what you want, and understanding that you have the power of choice, and you can begin choosing healthier food options. And I've had many diabetics as clients, and they find that with hypnosis, becoming mindful, and that's the one word. If I was asked to pick one word that describes it all, that would be it. You become mindfully connected to thoughts and actions that support your highest good. And when that becomes a consistent theme in your life, a lot of problems go away.
All right. Thank you.
My pleasure.
All right. Thanks very much, Linda. Great
Good night.
questions, great answers. Happy New Year. Let me go to Janice in Southbridge. Hi, Janice. How are you tonight?
Oh, I'm scared.
Why are you scared, Janice? You sound great.
Thanks. Listen, I'll make this brief. I'm 77 years old. I've been smoking for over 50 years. Now, let's say I decided to try hypnosis and I quit. Now, will my body have a reaction like from going cold turkey?
No.
Janice, I could never tell from your voice that you've been smoking 50 years.
Oh, yeah, over 50. Really.
Yeah, well, I get a little bit of it, just a little bit.
The thing with smoking and hypnosis is it's easy and comfortable with hypnosis because we get to go where the habits live. the withdrawal and the symptoms that people go through when they stop cold turkey, there's conflict because the subconscious wants its cigarettes and the conscious mind is saying, no, we got to stop. It's going to kill us.
Okay, but I wouldn't have any physical side effects from having smoked for so long and quitting?
No, it's my clients consistently have a comfortable transition.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Hey, Janice, let me ask you, how much do you smoke these days? How many packs a week?
At least 2.
2 packs a day?
Yeah.
Can I ask you another question?
Yes, sir.
What's it cost for a pack of cigarettes? Like $8, right?
No. See, I could never afford that. But I go through the Indian reservation.
Oh, you go down to Rhode Island.
Right.
And what do they cost down in Rhode Island?
$3.
Oh, Janice. But I will say this, Janice. You have lived a good life here. Now, hopefully you have many years ahead of you, but I would think the tobacco companies might want to use you as an advertisement.
Oh, and you know, the saddest part is I love it. I know I should quit. I know all the, and my kids drive me crazy about quitting.
Well, it would be a good thing. It would be a good thing, but BurlingtonHypnosis.com. Check them out, okay?
I certainly will, and I love you, and I wish you a happy and prosperous new year.
Well, are you a regular listener, Janice?
Oh, I definitely am, but I can never get on.
Well, you got through tonight, and you got through on a good night, and hopefully this is going to help you live another 77 years, okay?
Oh, thank you, kind sir.
Happy New Year, Janice.
Thank you.
You have a great night. All right, good night. Let me get one more in if we can. Dawn in the car. Hi, Dawn. How are you?
It's John in the car. That's okay, Dan.
I'm sorry. What's the first name?
John.
John in the car. Go ahead, John. You were on with Paul. Go right ahead.
Yeah, I was just listening on the drive home, and something Paul said really struck home with me about registering things to get registered into our hard drive in our mind.
You got it.
And how strangely they come back.
Yeah.
I was getting undressed one night, and I had a severe bruise on my arm. I had no idea how it got there. And my wife, literally thought there was something going on inside my arm, bleeding, whatever. I should go to the hospital. And she asked me if it hurt, and she touched it. When she touched it, I got a sharp pain, obviously. And in that split second, I remembered how I did it. It was
what happened? What did you do to your arm that caused such a bad bruise that you didn't remember in the first place?
I was going through a doorway, and one of those automatic door closures.
I hate when that happens. All right, so that's the mind is a funny place.
It's very strange how it got recorded in my mind, but I couldn't remember how I did it until she touched it. I got that sharp blast of pain, and it was like it all came back to me. It was like very vivid.
Yeah. Good for you. Hey, John, I appreciate your call. Hope you have a happy New Year, okay?
Take care, Dad. You too.
Thanks.
Bye.
Talk to you soon. Okay. A wide variety of callers.
Oh, yeah.
Interesting callers.
Great stuff,
tonight.
Isn't it?
It is great stuff.
Yeah.
As they say, I like to proclaim that my callers are the best in the business, and I think they did themselves proud tonight.
They sure did.
A lot of interesting people. And Paul, thank you for coming in, spending the time.
My pleasure.
Thank your wife Judy for being willing to babysit through the 2 hours here. The website BurlingtonHypnosis.com.
Mm-hmm.
And you've already had a few emails already. Yeah. So let's see if you can help some people out.
I'm looking forward to it.
Who knows? Maybe I'll stop by too. You're making a believer out of me. Okay.
All right.
We'll have you back. Thanks
Good
so much.
Deal. Thank you.
Very much, Andrew. We've got a bunch of callers here. Can I hold you?